I really love to write poetries and focusing now on writing short stories and maybe, let's say, novel in future. But yes, as many tarot readers or many healers would say that this path chose us. We did not went to this path, but it was chosen. It is like you're the chosen one. And during lockdown, exactly this is what happened. Cards just came to me via my mother, someone who is very supportive of me, my career, and whatever I do in my life. And she was like, I came across this amazing tarot reading video. You should just totally watch it. And I got addicted. And by end of the day, I was watching another video and I just said, like, I want to learn this. Yes. So my reason of learning Reiki, there were two, three reasons. Okay. So I used to travel through crowded buses and I felt that my energy was getting affected with everyone around me. And I needed a cleansing tool, a stronger one, not just a sage, not just an incense stick or a sound healing techniques. And that happens because a lot of our life problems comes from a different problem altogether. So you have got money problem, but it's not related to money, it's related to your identification as well.
Correct.
Okay, so the fact that I'm not good enough or maybe I did not have a secure childhood can also lead to financial blockages.
Hi, and welcome to Soul Velocity. I am Snehal Singh, your host, and I'm excited to take you on this incredible journey where we tap into the wisdom of entrepreneurs, authors, and creative visionaries, people who are transforming the world in ways we cannot even imagine. As the name suggests, Soul Velocity is all about finding that pivotal direction for your soul, mind, and body. A place where deep, real conversations ignite the fire to keep you moving forward. Right now, I'm thrilled to bring you a special series called as Voices and Verses 100 Authors and Countless Stories. This series is all about celebrating the writing world, connecting with authors, publishers, marketers, entrepreneurs, screenwriters, playwrights, and filmmakers who are shaping the stories that inspire us all. Through these conversations, my goal is to encourage aspiring writers, support seasoned authors, and spark new ideas that can inspire you to take you on your own creative journey to the next level. Whether you're here to learn, connect, or simply just enjoy some amazing stories, you are in the right place. Let's dive in together. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Soul Velocity. And we are doing special series Voices and Verses 100 Authors, Countless Stories. Today, we're going to talk with someone who I would call or put in a category of multi-potentialist because she is amazing when it comes to literature. She is a avid reader. She also does a lot of work in healing where there are many techniques that she's a master of. So I would just like to go ahead and welcome our guest for today. Pratiksha, thank you for being here. And also, huge thank you for being a part of Navrasa as well, as it added a beautiful touch to the book, and your story is amazing. So, thank you for being here. And I've literally said in short what you do. So, tell us a little bit more in detail of everything that you do.
Okay, sure. So first of all, Snehal, thank you so much for having me here and having me in Navrasa as well because it was a different kind of challenge for me. As I'm also an author of two individual published books, which is poetry collections, but those were something which came from intuition, from emotions, whereas Navrasa was something which was guided. And this is your topic and you have to write on it. So I think that guiding came from you. And as I said, I write. I really love to write poetries and focusing now on writing short stories and maybe, let's say, novel in future. But yes, that's one part of my personality where I really enjoy being, and that gives me a solace, that gives me peace. But what gives me chaos is my profession, which is as a tarot reader and a healer. Okay, so I do tarot reading, oracle card reading, and akashic record reading. And when it comes to healing, I do Reiki healing. I teach Reiki healing. I teach different forms of Reiki, be it Osai Reiki, Karuna, Mani Reiki, and so on and so forth. I'm very proudly also a founder of Samya Reiki, which focuses on five senses and elements of your body and try to balance them out. And apart from that, I teach everything I do. And I really like being in this element of the chaos where people come and talk to me. But that is just professional and something which I really enjoy. But when it comes to personality wise, I really love talking to people. I can talk as much as possible, and I just love to talk under anything under the sky. And that's me. I really love to dance. I love to listen to music, and that's my driving force of life. I'm just a bubbly girl, like a butterfly, trying to discover the world as much as possible. And I hope I give something today to our audience as a form of knowledge, maybe as a form of as a friend, something they would feel guided with. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I think you are definitely a giver. I've met you and I totally resonate with your energy. And I agree that, yes, you are someone who does bring in joy to the room. And, you are someone who brings in that bubble and that happiness, around you. Uh, Pratiksha, how did all of this start? Like so many things you're doing, and they are all related in a way to healing. Okay, I know that they are varied things, but to just simplify it. But what sparked your interest in say tarot, Reiki, or runes? Many people are not even aware of runes, and you do teach runes as
Yeah.
well. So, was there any defining moment that led you down a spiritual path, or how did this all happen?
Yes, definitely. As many tarot readers or many healers would say that this path chose us. We did not went to this path, but it was chosen. It is like you're the chosen one. And during lockdown, exactly this is what happened. Cards just came to me via my mother, someone who is very supportive of me, my career, and whatever I do in my life. And she was like, I came across this amazing tarot reading video. You should just totally watch it. And I got addicted. And by end of the day, I was watching another video and I just said like, I want to learn this because of the colors, maybe because of the texture of the cards and the way they spoke to me. I knew that this is something I want to learn. And trust me, I am not someone who gives into a learning or anything new if it's not in my comfort zone. Okay, so astrology, never my comfort zone, numerology, never my comfort zone. But just when I looked at the cards and I was looking at the readings, I came across the fact that I think I have what it takes and I want to walk this path down. And I had no idea what this path is going to bring to me because I was religious, I would say, but not spiritual in that terms. I believed in God, but I had no idea what to do with believing in God. The manifestation part, the prediction part, and I had faith that I would do it. So that was a defining moment that cards selected me that we want to come to you. Okay. And with healing also, I realized that this is not enough. I want to go forward. I want to also heal people because you do your own research. You go into this field. The people are doing tarot, but they are also doing this. They are also doing that. I want to be that girl. I want to heal people. And this healing journey, of course, opened a lot of channels for me and had been really helpful. So, yeah, I think it just chose me, I would say. There's no other reason, there's no other explanation. I was meant to do this. Otherwise, I don't know where I would have been. Maybe somewhere in corporate, being that HR who makes rangoli. That's
I love the way you put it. And one other thing that you said is everything that you do, you also teach. Okay. Tarot, I find, does come from a little bit of traditional interpretations or one of the oldest prediction ways that have been used, like really, really old. We're talking about probably nearly 7,000 years old. So how do you blend your intuition with the traditional, because there are meanings, like everything else is very intuitive work that you do. So even if you're talking about oracle readings or any other, um but with tarot, How do you blend these two, your intuition and the traditional set of meanings that has already been given?
Yeah. So what I believe into that, as much as traditional meanings are important, the moment you lay down your cards with relevance to the question which your querent or your client has asked, the first thing you notice is what your intuition is talking. Okay. The first point for me is intuition. So even though cards are being laid, there is a voice, little voice tapping into me and saying that just say this, just give out this message. And I give it out. But after a moment of giving that intuitive message, I bring my attention back to what the traditional meaning is. Because I'm not somebody who would just go with the intuition or just with the traditional meaning. Because when we go with either one of them, you limit yourself. It's what I believe. So for me, it's very easy. I try to listen to both the voices and then try to blend that. Okay, if intuition is saying so, and if the traditional meaning is so, is there a parallel between both of them? Is there any similar point between both of them? And if it is there, it is always there, to be honest, because though the traditional meanings have their own limitations in some way, that okay, no, this is a positive card or this is a negative card. No, we label things. But when your intuition comes into picture, you see beyond the traditional meaning, and it is still relevant to the traditional meaning. So that's how I blend both intuition and the traditional meaning. I consider both in my readings so that the client would get absolutely everything they need to know.
I love what you're saying, and uh, there with so much of work that you're doing, and as you said, there is both a blend of what that little voice within you is saying and what the cards are also saying, and also I think somewhere an understanding of how do I narrate the message that I'm getting as well, because sometimes being in the flow and just downloading and saying as is genuinely works with many, but at times there is that voice also which says, hold on, how do you want to put it across? Okay. But with tarot, what I have observed is with oracle card readings or any other kind of readings, I don't get as much a skepticism as I would get with tarot, because there is a huge attachment to, oh my god, if tarot has said this, then it is definitely happening, is a connotation that many people do come with. So what according to you is the most common misconception about tarot, and how do you handle the skepticism that people bring in when it comes to tarot?
Okay, so I would really like to address two of them, one from a tarot reader's perception and the client perception, and one from the student perception. Okay, one where they want to learn tarot. So first talking about clients, there are multiple myths which comes with tarot. Okay, and a lot of Indian audience, I would say, is not familiar with the tarot reading procedure, because tarot is a little, I would say, when it comes to comparison to astrology, you go to astrology, you say this is my kundli, and he will tell you everything about it in the same, like marriage, where maybe it be career, maybe property, you name it, and they will just say it in that one session. With tarot, you have to address each question differently. So to explain that to people, because they have no idea how this works, is a little bit a challenge. I would say it's not a difficulty, but it's just like, listen, if you're saying that when will I get married, it's just when will I get married. But if you tell me that how will be my partner, is only how will be my partner. So I think that little line between astrology and tarot is where I feel a little bit of challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But also, people believe that tarot is something magical. The cards are magical and something magical happens. But for me, tarot has been always a psychological tool which helps you to reflect on your emotional and mental state. And that's what drives your life further. So when you know where you are mentally and emotionally stuck, you can easily overcome the problem and easily divert your attention. Though the prediction is a part and parcel of the tarot reading, this is equally important. And from students' perception, I would say that there's a big myth that when you do tarot reading, you open the gates to hell, or maybe, you open the gates to bad luck. And another one which I heard, which was like really weird for me, because all the websites are selling tarot, is like, You don't buy your own tarot decks, you steal them. That one was very interesting for me, but unfortunately, that's not true, guys. You don't have to go ahead and steal anything. You can buy your own decks as much as possible, and you can make your own decks as well with the whole research thing and everything. But yeah, I think the clients nowadays understand. So there's not a lot myth, but students, they have a lot of questions, definitely.
And I so agree with you. These are the things that even I heard at the beginning, and I'm like, no, you can buy your own deck. Like, either you have to steal it, or you have to borrow it, or somebody has to gift it to you, and you have to wait for the day. And I'm like, no, you don't have to wait for the day. The earlier days were different, where we wanted to, know about, or it did work very much in a magical way, where if it is the right thing for you, then it will come to you naturally, or it was mostly given from a teacher to a student, and then it continued, and that is
Passed
not
on.
necessarily true today. So thank you for actually explaining that very, 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 very beautifully. Let's move to something that you have created as well. And how does your work complement each other? Like, how does Reiki complement other spiritual practices that you do, like tarot and runes? And also, if you could tell us a little bit more about runes.
Yes. So my reason of learning Reiki, there were two, three reasons, okay? So I used to travel through crowded buses and I felt that my energy was getting affected with everyone around me. And I needed a cleansing tool, a stronger one, not just a sage, not just an insane stick or a sound healing techniques. I wanted something more solid, okay? And had to choose between either Reiki healing or pranic healing. So of course I went ahead with my pendulum and I just said like, let's do. Tell me what is much better for me. And it went to Reiki. Okay, so it was eyes was set on learning Reiki. Now there were interesting things about Reiki. When I was learning pendulum from the teacher I learned from my mentor, I realized that Reiki also helps me to cleanse my tarot deck. Right? So I was much more happy that I can energize, cleanse, and charge my deck. So these two were the major reasons. But when I started doing healings and I learned first level, second level, fifth level till that, I realized that when I see a problem through a tarot, Reiki becomes the solution. Because Reiki is a healing modality where you can heal your physicals, you can heal your spiritual mind, you can heal your emotional body, you can heal your mental body, and then you can also heal your money. So it's all in one combination. You have symbols for every single thing. You want to heal your plants, you want to heal your animals. Reiki very much helps with that. Okay. So that's how tarot and Reiki complemented each other. Right. So if a client comes and says, like, I'm mentally feeling disturbed, right? And I want to get a healing for it. But how much healing? How much I go forward? And what should be the intensity of the healing? Should I go for 10-minute session, 30-minute session, or how we should divide? It all depends on the tarot reading because then I go and ask, like, what is the health condition? Where do we stand right now? Do we even need the intensity of 5 sessions, 7 sessions, or 11 sessions for that matter? So that's how the both blended a lot. And now when we come to runes are basically 24 alphabets, rune alphabets, so Nord alphabets. And
Mhm.
these alphabets stands for different, I would say, life stages. That's what I've seen. Where do
Mhm.
you stand right now? Maybe it's a wealth coming in your life. Maybe it's just, let's say, a journey coming in, or the strength has been expected from you. So a lot positive, but a lot beautiful. Just like tarot, this also has a spread. You just take out the runes and you can make your own runes on a wooden blocks or a stone or a crystal. It's all up to you, and that's fun when you get to make your own set of something, right? So runes represent the alphabets. Every rune has its own poetry. If you go in the deep knowledge of it, so yeah, these 24 sets of alphabet, and because of the limitations, if you see, tarot is 78 cards and runes are just 24. But if I have to do a reading today and I say that I'm going to blend both, so I'll do a runes reading as well as I'll do maybe a tarot reading for you. The parallels, the similarity is so accurate. It's so near to each other that if somebody is going to journey, you will see three of wands also coming into picture, and then the symbol also coming into picture. And runes have its own interesting dynamics, as you can read runes straight, inverted, and then also sideways.
Yeah.
So it has three. With the tarot, it will be just like upside down, like reversed, or the straight reading. And that's a difference with the runes as well. Though I would consider that runes have its own limitations when it comes to depth of understanding the scenario. But the prediction part is where runes rock, I would say, because you have to predict something that yes, this is going to happen. Your love life is going to spark up. Something is going to come up. So that's more of a prediction where tarot will go into the details. So depending upon the time and situation and the nature of the question, both comes into picture.
Got
So
it.
yeah, tarot and runes are different in that direction.
I was about to ask you how are both different from each other and which one do you prefer, but I think somewhere you have answered that.
Yeah.
Any interesting or surprising runes reading or a tarot reading experience that you can share with us?
Yeah, I'll share for the both, for the rooms as well as tarot. First, let's talk about a room. So I had a client, and she came in with whole like no background. I had no idea who she was, and we just did a rooms reading because she wanted to take an experience, right? Because clients do come up with this thing, and we came up with this three rooms, which indicated that she was traveling soon somewhere, and this travel was going to bring a lot of abundance for her, a lot of wealth for her. Which is like, then she explained that yes, I will be traveling somewhere, but it's a vacation. And few days later, I got to know that though she went on the vacation, though she was traveling for fun, she did receive abundance and success because of the references she received while she was traveling. So, because the energies changed for her when she traveled, and definitely she got a lot of projects in her hand. And then she was like, yes, yes, I'll do it. Though she was on vacation and she committed. And that's how the abundance came into her life. So that was an interesting experience when it comes to rooms. And I was really happy. And about tarot, of course, there's a lot of experiences, but when one which I really cherish and I feel that it was a win for me. Another client just came through the reference. I had no idea what they are into, apart from their profession, which they talked about. And we laid down the cards, and immediately I saw that that's where I talk about the intuition and the traditional meaning. The card was Knight of Wands, and I saw the card and say that you know what? You could walk into a food business, something which is related to spicy food. So it's not a sweet cake or maybe baking or something like that. It's more into like something which is related to spice, something which is hot. And then she says, yes, actually, I make homemade pickles and sometimes I sell it to my colleagues, but I don't know how to take it forward. And I said, that's your part. That's where things lies for you. And because that is such a different reading, the Knight of Wands, if you know, or if any tarot reader knows, is a completely different meaning, traditional
Meaning.
meaning to it. And that just came into a picture. So, yeah, that experience was somehow giving me my own power that, yes, I can deliver something. So that is why I cherish this
I
experience. And
love
it was
that.
unique for sure.
I think that that actually resembles how beautifully you're tuning in your intuition with what the traditional meaning at times may not match at all. And yes, have you ever had those moments where the cards out and you're like, "What? I didn't ask this question. What is this?" Have you ever had those kind of moments?
Yes, yes, of course, a lot of times. Okay. So you will be asking a question for your client, and then something comes up, and you're like, this is also relating to something else. And that happens because a lot of our life problems comes from a different problem altogether. So you have got money problem, but it's not related to money, it's related to your identification as well.
Correct.
Okay. So the fact that I'm not good enough, or maybe I did not have a secure childhood, can also lead to financial blockages. So your question might be, when will my financial blockage go? But the cards might be saying, go and heal your inner child. So that dichotomy and that, like, differences, they definitely come in. And for a moment, you have to be like, okay, let me just see what's happening here. Because there's a lot. Okay, there is like surface level meaning, and then there's a deep level meaning. In fact,
True.
when I was studying tarot, I was quite enough, I would say, blessed to receive a book which literally stated that sometimes tarot will answer the deepest desires. And it
Mhm.
will, though the question on the surface level is completely different, the answer might be completely different because the problem lies somewhere else. And the solution is that. So yes, these moments definitely make me startled. I would say that okay, now what? Because this is not making sense. The nice deep breath and trusting in your inner guide would definitely help you to understand the situation much better.
Thank you for simplifying that. But yes, let's move to my favorite part that I love, love, love having conversations with you about is your connect with literature and poetry. And, you're not someone who just reads for the sake of reading. You're not someone who, uh, just says things for the sake of saying it. And that's something that I've noticed, enjoyed with you. So, your poetry books, both of them, okay, plus your chapter in Navrasa. That's the exposure I've had with your work so far. So your poetry beautifully captures emotions, okay. So do you think, or how do spirituality or intuitive practices influence your writing, or do they influence your writing?
Yeah. So when I started with Shades of Life, the first book which published ever, okay, um, I had no idea that actually my intuitions are working in. Okay, because I was naive and I had no idea that in that time I was not into spirituality. It was just starting. After the first book, I think I went to tarot and then started this spiritual journey and everything. But yes, I believe that intuitions have always driven what I write. Um, Technically, on educational level, yes, I was a literature student, master's, graduation, both graduation, post graduation. But you know what happened when I was studying literature? I used to dissect these characters. I love that, but I never wrote anything myself. It never came. I used to see my classmates writing down because you're a literature student. Of course, you write something. I never had any compositions. And I used to feel that what am I doing? How am I a literature student if I'm not writing a single word and I don't know what to do with these words? Right? But then during lockdown or even before the lockdown, my first composition which came into existence was when I was just traveling through a bus and I looked at the clouds and I just saw something and I realized that it's a god and God is walking with me. And I draw the similarities, the parallels between that. And I was like, yeah, I want to write. And then I picked up my phone, I started making lines, and the first ever composition came into existence, I would say. That time, I did not realize that these are my intuitions speaking to me or my inner deep feelings, which are trying to find resonance
Mm-hmm.
into nature around me, right? But as my second book came, as I started writing more verses which are not yet published but will soon someday, I realized that yes, this is intuition because I would wake up in middle of the night at 1 and 2 and 3, and then it's like, yeah, I want to write this. If I don't write this line and I don't continue, it will go away. And it has happened so many times that I have thought, this is amazing, I'll write it down. And then I'm like, okay, I'll write it down later. And I forget it. So that made me realize that why these amazing poets like Milton and Shakespeare, like all these people would say that we have muses and they talk to us and they make us write. I was like, really? I don't think so. But then when it happened to me, when I was into a different zone, I'm listening to music and something just triggers and say like, write this. So it has never been a problem that, yeah, today I'm going to write about a death or today I'm going to write about a love or rain. No, it just came that these are the lines, the flow. So nature talked with me, and intuition comes from natural. I would say it comes from nature. So that's how my writing is, and I still right through that, when things just rushed into and they just say that this is the story which needs to go out, this is the emotion which needs to go out. And apart from that, what I really love reading, what I really love enjoying while reading is emotions. I need something to be filled with emotion, something which drives you, something which gives you motivation or just makes you reflect on things. So that was also something which was little intentional when I started my work as a writer. So the blend of both makes everything better and will make much better in future as well. I hope so.
I am so much in agreement with you that, everything that you've written has always been an inspired work where it has come to you and you have surrendered to that moment. And I think people who are listening in, if you are that poet, you are that writer, sometimes understanding that not everything needs a discipline. Sometimes it is that 1 a.m. morning thought or a 3 a.m. wake up call, and you're like, okay, I need to say this or not, note it down somewhere in the easiest way possible. And it is also equally needed, like, not depending on things like I have to put this in my that diary only and I need to have this pen only. Going with what I have and just blending in and surrendering brings in the bestest of the content, which most of the times is little for us and mostly for the rest of the world. Little awareness for us and much more for many. And you, someone I know, who deeply has connected to the books, okay? Which literary work you think has shaped your worldview the most?
I would say without any second thought, The Alchemist has been that book which I encountered. I was like all into Secret Seven and all the mystery books and everything. But Alchemist brought me to reality. It helped me understand that I have the capacity. I can be alchemist of my life. I can make changes. That's the whole takeout. And that book actually, the motivation, the inspiration, the friend, the guide, the mentor, everything that book is for me. Okay. So when I first read it and I took whatever was coming to me through the story, through the journey of that man, I realized that we all go through a journey. And this is my journey, and I choose to be what I want to. It's only me and not the stories of people, not the stereotypical expectations. It's just me who is going to change my life. So that book has definitely a lot of impact on my life. And another one which recently I encountered a few months back is Steps for Manifestation. That definitely helped me to understand how to easily manifest anything. And working with that book has been absolute delicious, pleasurous experience, I would say.
I
So
love
yeah.
that. Uh, Pratiksha, before I jump to the last question and we close this conversation, which has been really intriguing and so much knowledge that you've shared, anything that you would like to share with our audience today as a tip or a suggestion or any channel message that you're getting, whatever you feel most appropriate.
Okay. So I remember, like, if we go back to your statement that sometimes intuitively things comes to you and the discipline part. So something about the same for the writers in particular, I feel today because we misjudge, or I would say the term discipline scares us because we think that sometimes discipline is all about waking up at certain time every day and then doing certain thing no matter what. So sometimes take that no matter what out and let the things just flow. The flow is everything. Okay, when you really want to write something, and I would say that even if you think that this is the worst line ever I have written, stick to it, write it down. Because though in that moment, that line or that work or that composition doesn't make any sense, but at least you have a content and you can always better your content. With the same content, you can work on it. So, with the discipline, it's all about the mental discipline you have, the mentally you commit to your work. So, even if you wake up at, like you sleep at 1 in the night and then you wake up at 10 a.m. and then you start your routine at 10, It's fine, but then that should be a routine. That's what I believe. And then, even if some days you feel that whatever I'm writing is bullshit, appreciate that bullshit, because people somewhere in the corner of the world are not even writing that bullshit. And that bullshit can always be improvised, right? That wrong ideas or something which is not matching up can always be improved and changed. And that just not stays with writer, but with every single person who is watching this. Know that you have the capacity to change things around you. But for first, you have to take that deep dive. You have to walk into it. If with my first book I would have said that yes, I'm writing poems but I don't want to publish it, I would have never went to the second one or the Navrasa one or the other ones which will be coming in future. That first step, though, when I now go back to my first book, I know that I could have done better. I understand it. But that's the life. You are always going to be better version of yourself. It's not the competition with others, it's competition with your old self, right? So even though 5 years back you were something different, now when you look back at your life, you feel that yeah, I have progressed. So if now in this moment you feel that you're stuck or maybe you're not doing something amazing, 5 years later you are going to sit there in amazing place and think that yeah, actually I did something great and that's why I'm here at this position. So appreciate yourself and discipline your mind, not just your physical routine, but just be disciplined mentally, be committed to your writing, be committed to your work, and don't make everything your identity. Don't say that I'm writer. Sometimes just go out in nature, observe things, and automatically topics will come, ideas will come. And though that idea seems mediocre in the moment, go with it, because you can always make better and amazing and excellent out of mediocre. But if you don't translate it on the paper or you don't bring into the world, nothing will be able to made out of it. So that's my message for everyone
I
out
loved
there.
it, and especially the part where you are telling and we are talking about, you know, at least writing it, having that mental discipline. Because if you don't have content, what are you going to improvise on? What are you going to refer to as, okay, I did this work in the past, and okay, I can either rework or, so on and so forth. So thank you for simplifying it. And last question, and something that I'm very curious to know is, what is next for you? Like books, courses, spiritual projects, what is in the works?
So, books wise, of course, the plan is this year to publish two books for sure. That's definitely happening. One will be my first novel ever, novelette, maybe not a novel. But yeah, something coming up. And of course, poetry, the first love, which I never thought would be my first love. Definitely something coming on those lines. By end of this year, we will definitely have something in our hand. And yes, talking about the spiritual field altogether, I would say that, of course, this year, my goal is to make as many healers as possible. So I want people to feel independent when it comes to healing, and I want them to learn it. Okay. And along with that, something where I'm becoming independent is learning light language and healing people with light codes and light language. So that's the major focus up. So keep following up for me for that light language healings and everything I update on. And of course, more tarot readings, more amazing conversations with people, more meaningful conversations and meaningful connections with new people. That's what I aim for.
I
So,
love
yes.
that, and I can't wait to see what you're creating with the light language. So thank you for being here, Pratiksha, and always being very much a giver when you share. So thank you for freely sharing everything. It was an amazing conversation, guys. And if you have any questions for Pratiksha, her details are there in the caption. So please go ahead, check it out. If you haven't followed us, subscribed us, liked this video, then please go ahead and do that, because your support is how we will know if we are on the right track or not. So thank you once again. And as I always say, we all are born abundant. All we need to do is claim that abundance by taking one step at a time. So I'm hoping that today you have taken that one step. So, and if you haven't, the day hasn't ended yet. So please go ahead, do that. I will see you for the next episode.